Hello there, Crafty Friends, and welcome back to another video here on Sam's Crafty Castle. So today we have quite the interesting card, and I'm going to be the first person to tell you today's video is not the best video I have ever made. It's a little rough around the edges, but I decided to go ahead and post it anyway, and just throwing that out there to get started. So today we're actually going to be making a light up card using the Chibitronics light kit. And it's a superhero card. So here I have a stencil from Kindred stamps, and I actually did this background like 3 times, and we're starting with the easy part here, which is just the card front. But like I said, I did this like 4 times, and honestly it still doesn't come out great, but it'll do. So I'm just using this stencil from Kindred stamps. Unfortunately, it is no longer available. It was part of a limited edition box that they did a while ago, and then they did a limited release to raise money for charity, and that's how I was able to get it not that long ago. But yeah, I don't even have a name of it anymore, so I'm not really sure, but it is by Kindred stamps, and actually a lot of what we're using today is by Kindred stamps. And I am just taking some Jeannie K Designs Wild Dandelion ink and using my life-changing blender brush to blend it on. And I apologize for the shaky table. I work on essentially a folding table, and sometimes it shakes when I do things like blending or moving and things like that. So apologize for the shaky camera there. So that's basically our card. See, you can see I still smudged. I did this background 4 times, and by this time I was like, I'm just sand erasing the smudge because I was not doing it a 5th time. This background was too easy to have to do it 5 times, but I just couldn't get it right. So thank goodness that someone out there invented sand erasers, and that I actually could find mine when I needed it for once, because I usually lose that thing. So this is the start of the fun part, of the light up part. So off camera, you saw me lay out my little iron guy and figure out where I wanted him in the card. So off camera, what I'm doing right now actually is poking holes where I want the lights to be. So I want his chest and his hand to be where the lights come through. So all I'm doing is poking a hole using my craft pick through his chest, which sounds ridiculous, and his hand, and then I did the same thing on the blended panel, and now I'm just taking a pen and drawing little dots in, or tracing, I guess, the holes that I made to tell me where they need to go, and then that little bottom corner there is going to be where my battery goes. So you can see now I have the dots there so that I can tell where everything needs to go. So the first step to building your light up card is building your circuit. So this is going to be my battery housing. That's where my battery is going to live, in the little paper thing there, and that basically acts as a switch. So when the person who gets this card pushes on the corner where that little yellow bursty thing is in the corner, the paper will touch down on the battery and complete the circuit and make my little iron guy light up. So this is all part of the kit, and I should have pulled out the kit to show you, and I don't know if I did and I just can't find the clip or what, but like I said, not my best video. So this is the copper tape that comes in the light kit, and I just have the little starter kit right now, and this actually used up the last of the lights that I had, so I actually have to get some more lights, and it also used up my batteries, so I have to get a couple more batteries if I want to do any more light up cards. So this is the copper tape. You get plenty of that in the little starter kit, and basically all I'm doing is making my circuit. So I started on the little paper where my battery is going to live, and I started moving it out, and you just kind of push it down and keep it as nice and flat as you can, and then I'm just going to go a little bit above where I have my little dots, because the lights are actually going to be centered on that little dot, but the actual parts that connect to make the circuit are going to be a little bit above and a little bit below the dots, because the lights are like a triangle shape. So you can see I have to move it around a little bit to get it to do what I want, but it's really actually easy to put the tape wherever you want. I actually think kind of in a weird way, the building of the circuit is probably the easiest part of this card, which it shouldn't be. Like, it should be the hardest part, but you're going to see me struggle real hard with a part later. So you're probably thinking, well, I didn't really make a circle, so how is that a circuit? If you remember anything from like second grade science class, or maybe it's fifth grade, I forget when you learn about circuits. But that's because the lights are going to complete the circle once we put them on, because now we're going to build the other half of our circuit going around the other half of my little paper thing. So the battery will connect that half, and then the lights will connect the other half. So it's not really your traditional all the way around circuit, it's what they call a parallel circuit. And if you have kids, I do actually really recommend this if you have kids, because this is a really fun way for them to learn about how a circuit works and how to make one and the different kinds of circuits, and it's just a whole lot of fun. So if you have kids, this may be a fun card to do with them. Although, like I said, you're going to see me struggle kind of hard. But I struggle with what should be the easiest part. So I don't even know what to say about that. So I just finished my circuit. Of course, I did it off camera because I am horrible at keeping things centered in my frame. But that's basically what the kit looks like right there. There's the 2 binder clips in there that they use, that are in there mostly if you follow along with the book. And I just have my 2 little white, I used the white LED lights. I should have bought blue ones for this, but I didn't buy them, and I wanted to get the video done, so I just used the white ones. But it all works out okay in the end. So there you go, there's my circuit. I completed it with the lights, and I'm going to put my battery in and test it to make sure that it works. And you do have to kind of pay attention to your positive and negative side of your circuit to see which side needs to go where. So I had to check the battery to make sure that the positive side was the same as the positive side on the lights, and the negative side was the same as the negative side on the lights of the battery. And you can see even I only had one light up because my circuits were a little too, or not my circuits, my copper tape was a little too far apart for the second light. So, well, I guess technically it would be the first light. But either way, for the one light, the copper tape was a little too far apart and it wasn't really touching the light. And I kind of knew that when I put it down that I might have an issue. And sure enough, I did. So I was able to just pull both the lights up and move the tape a little bit closer, and then boom, it worked. And they lit up like they were supposed to. So this is where Sammy got on the struggle bus of this card. And this should literally be the easiest part of this whole thing, and yet for some strange reason, it was the part I struggled with the most. I don't know. So basically, we're going to put the foam tape on. So in order to keep the battery from dying or the lights from burning out, well, the lights are LEDs, so they don't really burn out, but to keep the battery from dying, you want to make it so that the paper is not constantly touching the battery, because then that completes your circuit and makes the battery run and all that stuff. So, oh, I forgot I did this first. So this is, I'm just stamping the sentiment here. It's a set from Ink Road Stamps, and it's the I Love You 3000 stamp. If you guys are familiar with Marvel at all, you understand the reference. But I have wanted to make this card basically since I got both of these stamp sets, so I'm excited that I made it, even if it was a little rough around the edges. So I'm just stamping this. I'm pretty sure I used the GK Designs Amalgam Jet Black ink. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I used. It might have been Obsidian, so I usually try to reach for the Obsidian, but I think it might have been Jet Black this time. So that's that. That's simple. So we're going to go back to talking about my struggles with foam tape. Now this is the second Chibitronics card I made. I made a Firefly one that I believe I also attempted to make into a video and also came out really rough, but I just never posted it. And I made one using the little fireflies from Lawn Fun probably about 2 years ago now. And I had the same struggle, and apparently I didn't learn anything from my struggles last time. So you actually need quite a bit of foam tape. Like, I started with 2 layers of foam tape, and it actually wasn't enough. I should have gone to 3, maybe even 4. Just again to keep the paper from pressing on the battery all the time. And the other thing I'm really bad at, and again the same thing happened with the other one of these I did, is I'm not very good at building the battery housing for my circuits, or for my batteries. Like, you should really use your foam tape to really snug up your battery. You don't want the foam tape to touch the battery because that's going to screw it up, but you really need it to keep it tight so that it keeps it in its place. And I always make my little battery squares too big, and then my battery moves around, so then when I go to show people the card, or I go to give it to someone, sometimes the battery doesn't stay where it should stay, and then it doesn't work. So, or the circuit's a little funky and the lights flicker, and it's just, I mean, it's not a big deal, but learn from my mistakes, people. So, yes, when you build don't be too afraid of putting anything too close to the battery. And I mean, I should have probably made my paper house a little bit smaller too. I just used a scrap paper I had, and I didn't really cut it down or trim it or anything like that because it just had a tiny piece laying around. And I probably should have just made it smaller. It probably would have made this whole process easier, but like I said, my battery likes to move around a little bit, and sometimes it doesn't always light up nice anymore when I want it to. So, like I said, learn from me. More foam tape than you think, and don't be afraid to get a little closer to the battery. I obviously, you can see I kept it on the outside of the little paper house because, again, you also don't want to glue your paper down. So that's where things get tricky. But I think if you build the battery house, and you put the foam tape on the inside of your little paper switch, you don't really need to take the top layer of the protective paper stuff off, if you know what I'm trying to say. So then it wouldn't stick your paper down. And I think on that one on the side there where the foam tape kind of goes over, the copper tape kind of goes over the foam tape a little bit there, I don't think I took that one off. I think I left it on. And you just put enough other foam tape on around it to keep the card panel up and supported and at an equal distance. Like, you can tell on mine that it's a hot mess because like half the card is like bumping out because I managed to add a little extra foam tape to the corner where the battery was to keep the paper switch from being on all the time. But then the rest of the card front looks really low, and honestly, the card does not look that great at the end of the video, and it looks even worse now after I tried to save it. So, but it's okay. I still like it. I'll still give it to somebody at some point because somebody I know will still appreciate it, I'm sure. So there you can see he lights up, and this is how I kind of figured out that because the paper was very clearly still touching even without me pushing on it, and that's not what I wanted. So that's how I kind of figured out that it wasn't quite right, and after I finished the video, I went ahead and tried to fix it. So there you go, that's it. The only other thing is I do recommend the Lawn Fawn Push Here stamp set if you have it. I could not find it, but I wanted to put a little push here in the little corner there where the battery was, but like I said, I just couldn't find the stamp set. So that's all I have for you today, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you for hanging out for this kind of mess of a video, and I will see you all again in a video soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below, and have a crafty day.